All right, how's it going? Turn on your cameras if you can. I like to see your faces. If you can't do it, then that's fine. Um, but it'd be great if you could. It just makes it more fun for everybody. So, what we're going to be talking about today in this workshop is how to build a great product and the importance of it, and how to validate it, how to think about it, and how to go through this process. Are you guys excited about that? If you guys can, please speak. Hey, what's up, Rion? Is it Rion? Am I saying that right?
Yes, you're saying that right. Yes.
Okay, very good. So I want to talk to you guys about this product thing because the more and more I look out into my own members and just other people online, I really am noticing that there is a problem with product. And people are, and this is not their fault, this is not a fault of anybody, okay? But what I do notice is there's a big emphasis on marketing and getting leads and getting sales, which makes sense because that's how you make money and that's what the majority of people are trying to do. But without a product, you don't have anything to market and you can't convert anybody to a lead because for what? And certainly not a sale. What are we buying here? So I was just on TikTok and I did notice that when I asked that question, somebody said marketing. And like that was the most important factor. And it is very important. But the problem is when you go to focus on marketing and you're not paying attention to product, the marketing's no good. It's not very good at all. So you have to focus deeply on the product. And in this case, we're talking about digital products. So I want to talk to you guys about that. What are some of the things that you guys have trouble with when it comes to building a great product, or do you not have any trouble with that? You guys can speak. We're here together as friends. Okay. So
Mike, at this stage, my biggest problem is um, info overload. There's so much going around that we don't know where to start. I think that's my personally my biggest problem.
hmm.
Yes.
So
Not
when I
not even to say what product. I mean, there are hundreds. I see thousands of ads on TikTok and YouTube and everything every day about products. So what do you choose and where do you start?
mm, great question. So when it comes to deciding on how to build a great product or what product to choose or, you know, the first steps is for me, you got to figure out, and you have to first understand something, that no matter what you choose and no matter what you go into, it's going to require a lot of your focus, a lot of your attention, and a lot of your just overall energy. So if we're going to be allocating, I mean, this is not a question. This will be the case. Doesn't matter if you're doing the work or if you're managing the work, it's going to require intense focus. It's going to require that you pay attention. It's going to require that you are always in this realm of what you're talking about. So it means you're going to be very submersed and saturated in your mind with this concept, this solution, the whole thing. Now, this isn't a drag and this isn't a negative thing. It's very fun if you pick the right thing. The most important thing is that you first decide, what do I want to be involved with? What am I passionate about? What do I have that, or what is it about my life that I really enjoy? And you can find some element or aspect of that in whatever it is that you choose. This is so important. This is so important. It's massively critical that you pick something that you're passionate about or have at least a very, very strong or keen liking to when it comes to picking the product or the solution, or the problem. Okay. Because what you're going to have to figure out is to sell anything, to market anything, to get leads, and to build something great. you're going to need to know, number one, the thing that business is centered around, which is solving problems. So you need to pick a problem that you can be passionate about. It doesn't need to be in the beginning phases. It doesn't even need to be something that we know is, a big thing in the marketplace or something that people love or, all this stuff. The big thing is, do you love it? Can you find yourself infatuated with it? Can you find yourself talking about it? Do you want to be around the people that are having this problem, whether physically or digitally? But is it something that you can get excited about? That is the first key, okay? So the first key to this is, what am I really excited about, or what do I really enjoy? What could I see myself talking about or discovering or researching or being a part of for the long, long haul? And this is very critical. Most people go out there and they're just like, what's making money right now? Okay, that's where a lot of people go, because the like initial condition that you have is, I want to make money, right? And that's great. That's you go into business and you're basically raising your hand saying, hey, look, if you have this problem, bring it to me so I can help you. That's an entrepreneur. Hey, I'm here to solve problems. Bring me all of your problems. I'll solve them for you. And because you're willing to do that, you get outsized returns compared to somebody that is told what to do, okay? Or is basically facilitated inside of another organism or organization, they call it, that is, taking care of a particular problem, okay? So when you decide, okay, that you are going to be an entrepreneur, or that you're going to take the entrepreneurial route, then the first thing that you need to consider is, can I find something that I can talk about every day, that I can get excited about learning more about, that if I were to have to solve problems or get organized or get focused or create things, that this is an area that I see I could do this every day. So that's the first thing that you need to decide. And then if you found that area, then you immediately want to go out there and say, hey, I'm not going to be, ignorant about the idea that nobody else has done this before. Okay. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to look for competitors. I'm going to look for examples in the marketplace where somebody else is already doing this. And if you can't find competitors and you can't find examples of people giving up their hard-earned money to get that solution, then you have to go back to the drawing board and you have to think again, okay, maybe this wasn't the right angle in this industry, or maybe this wasn't the right industry, or maybe I need to approach this from a different perspective. This is going to save you a ton of having to restart and shiny objects and misery and doing something that you're not destined to really do. So when I have somebody come into the program and the new version of what I'm creating right now, I've been building out all last night, all this morning. I got up at like 4:30 this morning, just only because I'm like getting on an airplane and doing all this stuff. Soon, early tomorrow, I had to offset that. I've been building out like all these courses and all these things. So, going through this again, it's like I see where a lot of people get in trouble. It's not that what the business is that they're doing is not a good business. It's just, it's not a good business for them. And so you have to really discover what that is for you. So you have to do some like soul searching. You have to do some testing. You have to write some things down. You have to decide what it is. What I think it is you start out with something simple like, let me pull something up here for you. Yeah, so let's look at this here. Okay, let me know if you guys can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see the red?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Can see it.
Okay, excellent. If you guys have any questions, listen, the table is open here, okay? So you got to really find what it is that's going to motivate you, right? That you can get committed to. Because it is, It's going to take commitment. Okay. And it's got to align with your personal interests. Okay. It really does. It really does. And if you do this, like it says here, it increases the chances of success and fulfillment. It might work for a little bit. I was in a business when I was 22. I think I was 22 years old. And a friend of mine and I, we had a physical product business where we were selling nutraceutical products. They were liquid vitamins, essentially. Okay. And there was a lot of the elements of that business that I enjoyed, and I learned a lot, and we made a lot of money. Like when I was 22, I had hired and trained 35 of my own salespeople and had built my own call center, like literally with drywall, 2x4s, like built cubicles, nice ones, right? And we were doing like $250,000 a year. And this was back in like 2007, right? And so 2006, 2007, right in there somewhere. So, I started making money really early, and it was a lot of just luck, right? I call it that. Maybe it was something else, but to me, it felt like I just ran into the right people at the right time. And I had, this hunger to want to do a lot, right? Because I think I was just bored easy. So I had to keep myself really busy. And I found out that being an entrepreneur and enjoying stress and busy and things like, not negative stress. I hate the word stress actually because of the way it's defined, but just, I like having a lot of stuff to do. I like being busy and I like to figure things out. So it was kind of one of those areas where it kind of really was attractive to me, this entrepreneur thing. But even though we were making that much money, and even though we had all these things going on, it didn't matter. We still killed the business. We still got out of it eventually, because even though the money was there, even though we were having fun, you could say, or learning, and we were, innovating and making sales, I truly was not passionate about this. And so I kept finding things in it that, gave me reason to go away from it. And so this is what will happen. It lasted for several years. It's a slow thing that happens. And this is where the time gets lost. And, I didn't know better, right? I didn't know to really dig deeper. And maybe there's a case where you have to go through things like that in order to figure that out. But what I did find is it's important that you list everything out that you enjoy doing. Okay. List everything out that you enjoy doing. Think about the hobbies, the interests, the topics that you love talking about, and then just take, 10 minutes to create that list, right? Create a list of all your interests and passions. And then what I like to do is like circle the top 3 and then put a star by the one that just keeps staring at me. And I think this is a great place to get started. Okay. So I don't know if that helped you think about this, but you need to identify, like, what am I really good at? What are my skills? For me, I was easy with computers. Like, for some reason, the functionality, the format, the whole thing, like it just really came to me pretty simple. Okay. Whatever that was. And then I knew my strength was communication, mainly because all through school, the reason I got in trouble was not because I was some bad kid. It was because I was talking all the time, right? I was always talking to somebody, or I was trying to figure something out, and I was very vocal. Okay. So, that I knew that was a strength of mine, even though some people looked at it as a weakness, but it was a strength that I had. And then the skill that I had was I was good with creating images. Like, I was good at art, and I was good with computers. So naturally, this whole digital product online thing came to me very it was like a match made in heaven. And then you got to consider like professional and personal experiences. So for me, I'll just speak on what I know of myself, because I don't know you. My professional strengths were the fact that I was working on like farms and construction crews, and I always ended up, or like in sports, I always ended up like either leading the team, or not per se in stats, but people listened to me. right? Like I had the courage to stand up for myself and speak my truth. And so in that way, I knew that I could get people's attention and show them a way. And hopefully, back then I was hoping that it was the right way. And then my personal experiences was, I had done a lot of like not typical job work. Like I was doing a lot of work, when you grow up farming or you grow up in an agricultural area, there's not somebody looking over your shoulder telling you what to do all the time. They're like, hey, take this truck and go out there into this place and fix this thing by yourself. So there was a lot of needing to figure things out. And so when I coupled that together with all of the things that I had enjoyed and had expertise with, that's where this really started to make sense for me going this route. And you have to find that as well. And you have to ask people for feedback. So you just want to write down your top skills and strengths, and then, ask like 3 people that really know you. Like, hey, what would you say that I'm really good at? And this will help you get close to the industry you need to be at. And it'll help you decide like where that needs to start leading towards. Okay. So hopefully that helps a little bit. So does anybody else have any other questions about anything I said? Does anybody have any questions about anything? What's up?
I'm good.
Okay. So how many people know what they want to do? Like, the area that, or the problem that you want to be working on.
Yes, I do,
Yeah?
personally.
What do you want to do?
I want to teach people forex trading.
Perfect. So when you say, I want to help people do Forex trading, what problem do you want to solve inside of that industry or that focus?
I want to get people started with forex because apparently many people don't know about it. I want to raise awareness
Got it.
about the opportunity that is present in forex.
Got it. Okay. So good. I messed around with Forex. It can be very interesting. I had like, at one time I had like 4 I had 8, 4 on top and 4 on the bottom. And I was like watching all the pips and like everything. It was actually a lot of fun. But for me, it was too intricate and like too much. I didn't get to use my strengths the way I would have, there wasn't a lot of communication. There was a lot of like, listening to updates in the economy and then like looking at graphs. And although that is, for some people, that's like a dream thing, for me, it was just like, it wasn't but now maybe teaching it would have been a better route, but I just knew that my area was not there in that. But no, that's great. So look, how do you intend on doing that?
I intend to teach. I intend to go the route of teaching because I have a small list of strengths, and number 1 is teaching. I've been told that I'm good, and I know personally that I'm good at turning anything into something that is understandable by everyone, to make it into a systematic way of learning. So I believe I can turn the journey of learning forex from an absolute beginner until they get profitable. I can teach them how to do that.
Very good.
Yep.
No, that's awesome. What platform are you going to be doing this on? Not the Forex platform, but what are you going to be teaching on? Are you going to use Skool? Or are you going to use like a Kajabi, a Click? Like, do you know where you're going to go with that?
I am likely to use YouTube since it's the most popular and it's free. And later I could go to Skool because it's more of a community and it is more popular and it's overall better. But I'll start with YouTube.
There's a lot of affiliate opportunity with what you're doing as well. If somebody uses your link to get started on their trading platform or whatever the case is. So that's cool. No, that's good. That's good. Have you laid out the product yet? Have you decided what that looks like at a high level, or have you dialed that in yet?
Not yet. That's why I was eager to get to this class. I've
Mm.
been seeing your lives for a while now, but
Mm.
for some reason I've never gotten myself past that inertia of getting started.
Mm.
Every time I watch, I get this energy to get started, then the following morning it all dies down. So there's that inertia. I really need to get started and get going and move forward.
What I would suggest on that, because that's a very common, that's I think a lot of people, that's the biggest inertia point, is that, right? They get excited, they get a lot of, they get that say that, you're on something like this here, and you get on this workshop and you get all this energy to like do it, and then when it comes to actually doing it, your brain goes protect, or your brain goes wait a minute, or it's like your brain's like, maybe I don't know what I'm doing, or I shouldn't do this, or I should do this, but like maybe I'm not qualified yet, or whatever. And this is the thing that happens. One thing
That's
that
right.
one thing that helps me get through that is leaning into like the first principles of the whole thing, which means what is necessary for this thing to actually work, and how can I start doing that? So let's look at this as an example of, let's say, building a home. Okay. So the first principles of building a home are: we need a foundation, then we need some walls, then we need a roof, then we need some windows, we need a door, and then we can start putting on, tile or carpet or drywall or pictures and all these things. But if we try to think about all those things at once, it gets very overwhelming. So what we want to think about is, where can I start that will be promising and needed and necessary, and build up from the right direction? Because here's what happens. People think about they're thinking about the windows and they haven't built the foundation, or they're thinking about how they're going to design the room and there's not walls up yet, or they're thinking about what the yard might look like after they put all the landscaping in and they haven't even plumbed in the toilet yet, right? And so by thinking of all these things, we're not thinking about first principles, we're thinking about second, third, and fourth order consequences. And so what we want to start thinking about, and to get you past the inertia of like, past this stall point, is we want to think about, well, in order for me to do this, what do I have to have? Well, I have to have a solution for this problem that I found and that I want to be a part of. Then I have to create a product, or in other words, the solution. I have to actually put the solution together so that I can serve this problem. And so then you ask yourself, well, okay, what do I have? What's necessary, or what's, most viable, or what's needed to make this product a product? And so when we think about that, you have to ask yourself, okay, well, what are all of the things that are needed to be known in order for this person to solve this problem? Okay. So you would take, in the house example, it's like, well, the foundation, we need concrete. Okay. Then we're going to need plumbing and electrical that's running in through the concrete. And then we're going to need stability points to put walls up. And then we're going to need wood for the walls and the framing if we're building it out of wood. And then we're going to need drywall, and we're going to need some backer board. And these are all the first principle elements of building a house and getting a structure together that eventually has carpet, tile, paint on the walls, pictures, and windows, and all of these things, right? So for you, you have to ask yourself, if somebody were to be completely unknown about this thing that you're talking about, this solution that you want to go into, what are the necessary steps that cannot be left out to get them from I don't know to now I know? And you need to lay that out. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be in order. You just need to get that part out of you. Just like with the house thing, it's like, well, we're going to need some PVC pipe for the plumbing. We're going to need some concrete. We're going to need some wood, some 2x4s, some nails, some screws. We're going to need some glue. You know, those are the things that you need to get together. And then we can start organizing the order that we accomplish each of those things to create the foundations that we need to actually have a home. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So what you would want to do is first say, okay, well, has somebody already done this before? And we know the answer is yes. And so what
Yes.
you can do is go find somebody that has already created this wheel that you want to create. Because we're not trying to accomplish the I did it first move. We're trying to accomplish the I'm making it better move. Because somebody's teaching Forex out there right now successfully.
Yeah.
But how can you do it better? And then sometimes it comes to be this. Maybe you're not going to do it
Yes.
better, but maybe you're going to do it for a particular type of people. So there's
Yes.
different ways to be better. Maybe you only work with people in your surrounding country, and maybe you only work with men, right? Not that that's the point. The point is there's different ways to niche down. And there's also ways to think about this where you can say, I don't have to stay here either. I can expand once I've built, you know, a firm ground and got some experience in actually teaching and doing. But what's most important to get past that stall point is you need to start laying out your course. Here's the way I would look at it. Okay. So
Okay.
to start building something like this, okay. So look at this. You see these like these little tiny red things down here? These are all
I see them.
yeah, these are all like the little nails and boards of a foundation here. So in my product, okay, I have, sorry, bear with me. Let me just go up to this. Okay. Here's my product. Okay. So I color coded it just for my own good. Okay. And it's kind of the colors I'm messing around with. But when I think about a product, I think about it like this. You have 3 stages. Okay. So think about it like, I'm sure if you've followed me for a while, you've seen me make this little diagram here, right?
Yeah.
Right. What I'm creating here, right? So this is like somebody that now knows how to do Forex. Here's somebody that doesn't know, and you're going to take them through the journey of doing this, right? So
Yeah.
think about like this. You've got 3 stages. Okay. So you got 1, 2, 3. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, right? So that you can see
Okay.
my stages here. Then you have in each stage, okay? So in each stage now, you have 1, 2, 3 modules. So let's look at this. In my stage here, so this is this stage 1, okay? Stage 1. I have in step 1, okay? So there's step 1, step 2, and step 3, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now, inside of each step, okay, inside of each step here, we have 3 modules. So module 1, module 2, module 3. Are you noticing this pattern of 3, 3, 3, 3, 3? Like the rule of 3?
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So now if you go into my step, what do we got here? We've got 1, 2, 3 modules. Now, if we go even deeper inside of the module, now we've got 3 core points that I'm talking about in each module. Okay, so look, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Now I laid all of this out here before I created a single slide. Because now that I have my blueprint, number 1, okay, I've got the blueprint. I can see all the way from the start to the finish of what my digital product is going to look like. And
Yeah.
I can always enhance or remove anything that is unnecessary or not viable. And by starting simple, I can always build up. Just like I always talk about Porsche, the first 911 only had a mirror on one side of the car, not on both. And then the next year, they're like, well, let's put one on both sides. They just did the minimum thing that they needed so they could see behind them, right? So
Yeah.
the important thing was is we needed to see behind us. We'll worry about adding another one later, but if can we at least accomplish that? So you put the minimum thing that they need to understand inside of there, okay? And so it graduates, right? It's like, first, you got to have your passion blueprint, like we just kind of talked about, right? You got to have that. What is that thing that you're going to do that you're passionate about? Once you have that, now we have to build an audience of people, because those are going to be the people that eventually will be purchasing from you. And then we can worry about mastering how to scale the business. So you can see how mine graduates in this way, right? It's like blueprint, and then let's get the audience together, and then let's scale this thing. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. As soon as you have your blueprint laid out, now what we can do is we can start building it really small. Okay, so you just start laying out the slides for this, and then you lay out the slides for the next step. And then once you got all the slides together, then you can start creating version 1 of your product, and you can start to decide what needs to be there in the next version. Maybe you need to add a mirror to the other side, right? Does that make sense? So now
Yes, it does.
past this inertia, so you're going to have to act your way into the understanding of what needs to happen next. And instead of relying on your feelings to get you in a place where you're going to move, let's rely on something that is, in other words, maybe numeral or static, or like, an actual thing, right? It's like, no matter how we feel, this block of wood is still a block of wood, or no matter how we feel, numbers or like 1 + 1 = 2. So when I am in a place where I'm not moving forward, I say, how can I strip away the feeling and instead work with what is? And what is inside of a product is we need to have this blueprint, this structure. So that's the first thing that I would say to get past that is, now let's start looking at what needs to be in the product. And then to lay it out here, what I would do is I would have 9 steps. So that's maybe the first place to step. It's like, if I could only use 9 steps to get somebody from I don't know to I know, what are the 9 core steps that would have to be included to get them from here to here? Start there. Do that research. Find that thing. Then, what are these major... Now let's start organizing it into these major big structures, these over here. Okay. And then what are the smaller elements of step 1, and then what are the points inside of each one of those? Do you see this?
I see.
Yeah, and you can do this. Okay, and you can use ChatGPT if you have that, or you can also even go look at another product and say, what's missing here, or where could I do this better, or can I start with this first? Because it's, and the greatest people in the world have done this, right? So let's take a look at this for a second. All right, who else did this? Well, let's take a look. So you might have heard of him, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
So this famous guy, right? So when he went to build the first Tesla, what was the first Tesla built on? Okay, so the first Tesla that he built, he didn't go try to reinvent the wheel. The first Tesla Roadster was actually built on a Lotus Elise chassis. So he used a car that was already in existence, and he started building from there. So from there, he learned he had something to start on. Somebody had already built the frame. Somebody had already put this structure together. And now all of a sudden, it's all good, Keith. Now all of a sudden, they went from there, and then they started building on that, right? The next one, they didn't build on that frame anymore. They built their own frame, and they learned from that. So if Elon Musk can do that, certainly we can do that too, okay?
That's right.
So what I would say for you is what does that blueprint look like? Let's lay it out. 9 steps. Each step has 3 modules, or in other words, each step has 3 videos, and each video has 3 points that we're going to cover. Now, you can go to ChatGPT and you can literally say to it, watch this, we'll do it right now, okay?
Yeah.
You can come in here and you can go to ChatGPT and we can say to it, we'll just do the example of the beginner thing, okay? So we'll say, I want to teach people who want to do Forex trading that have never done it, how to do it, okay? I want this course to be taught online, digitally, in a membership area. I want the course to be 9 steps, and in each step, there will be 3 modules, and each module will have 3 points. What would this beginner Forex trading course look like? Also, based on the current marketplace and the problems with other Forex trading beginner courses, what can mine include that the others are lacking and need improvement? Create this in a bullet format and keep it simple and concise, following the minimum viable product principle. Okay, so it's a pretty sloppy prompt, okay? But here you go. So now within moments here, you've already got your blueprint. Now, I mean, you do, right?
Yeah.
Right here. So there it is. Everything is right there. And now you can go to work on the next step, which is now turning this blueprint into slide decks that you can then teach from. And then the next step is teaching that. Now, maybe this first course, you teach the whole thing with the idea behind maybe never showing it to anybody. Maybe it was just for you to practice and get one underneath your belt. Maybe you find that when you get done with it, you can give it away for free to get everybody into your world and join your, maybe you could teach this whole thing for free on YouTube in each step is its own playlist. So maybe this first stage, right? The first 3 steps are their own playlist. And then the next 3 steps are another playlist, or you just do them all in one big playlist and you teach the whole thing for free, which would give you unlimited content on YouTube to talk about. It would then also give you a lot of credibility. And I just wouldn't even worry about what's all going to come in the comments, because you already know it's going to be just stupid crap, okay? The important thing is publicly creating something like this that you can then not only validate to yourself that you can actually just do it, and you could just tell everybody, this is all for practice. I'm just practicing creating my first course in public because I'd like to see what happens and the feedback. But everything that I'm doing here, this is my first time I've ever done it. It's complete and utter practice. So everything that I'm saying here, you know, this is just for information purposes only. You know, put like a disclaimer in there, and you can obviously ask ChatGPT, please create a disclaimer for me, letting everyone know that, you know, there's no promise of making money. There's no promise of anything. I'm just literally practicing in public, right? And if you put that slide at the beginning of everything that you teach, then, I mean, everybody should know then at that point that you're just practicing in public. But the neat thing is, people are going to go, damn, this is actually really freaking good. Oh my God. Like, dude, you're really good at this. And they start following you and you build this huge audience. And then at any moment you can say, I rebuilt the whole thing again in version 2 and learned from all of the feedback that you guys gave me down in the comments, good and bad. And my second version now is faster, it's easier, it's more fun, and it's for sale. Make sense? So like now you're in, look at this. You have everything right here, the whole thing. Okay. Just like that. So I will give you, I think I can share this with you. Let me grab this real quick. I'll just share it with you so you have it to work with. Okay. Okay. Let me just create this link real quick. Okay. So there you go. I'm going to give you this in the comments. Okay. So let me send this to you. You at least have this now as a you know, a basis to work from.
I've got it.
Okay.
You know, Mike, you just putting it like that, going through it so fast that way with me, just makes things so much easier. And thinking about it with the angle of wanting to just have one course under my belt, that's something that I can start with, rather than having the pressure of, is it perfect? Are people gonna like it? Yeah, that takes off the pressure. Thanks for, I understand people pay northwards of $10,000 for what you've just done. I appreciate.
That's awesome, man. Listen, if you can take that pressure off of you, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, right? Food, water, sleep is all we really need, right? So everything else is just extra and great, okay? So if you can just practice, you know, it's just like a baseball player or anybody else. If they want to be good, if they even want to play in the game and actually matter at all, even at the smallest level, it's going to take immense practice. But the problem when we go to create digital products or we go to create an online business is we don't practice because it's awkward. How do you practice that? And it is. So if you can now take this calculator, or I mean ChatGPT, or this tool, okay, and it can help you at least lay out the practice. And then what's funny is when you actually practice with something that matters and you do it publicly, well, people can watch. And if you do it in an organized way and you're trying to practice as if you were playing the game, then all of a sudden people are like, wow, this is actually really good. He's just practicing? Like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden, just like in a sports type game or something, they're like, guys, come over here. Look at this guy. He's just practicing. Look how fast he can throw that thing. Look at this. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, would you want to play like for us professionally? Well, okay. So it's the same thing here. And then you let people know, I'm just practicing. Okay. And all of a sudden they look at you different. They're not coming at you because you're trying to sell them something. They're coming at you because they're amazed. And all of a sudden you build in a very transparent, a very authentic, and very real way. You have now proved yourself without having to try to prove yourself. And all of a sudden you've gotten better. Your first one is just the one that you were able to find out, and you'll learn so much from teaching. But if you let people know, guys, this is just entertainment, just educational purposes only.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden the walls come down where they're like, yeah, whatever. Be like, oh, you must have missed my disclaimer. And the funny thing is, when you add a disclaimer and somebody starts to get silly with you down in the comments, number one, just ignore it anyway. It's just blah, 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 blah. It doesn't mean nothing, okay? You can use it constructively, but don't let it affect you in your focus, right? Or in your value or your ability or anything like that. Because people are just going to be completely, they're going to be humans. They're going to be cavemen, barely above cavemen. So just don't worry about that.
Yeah.
All right. They're all just whatever. Okay. It's just blah, 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 blah. But if there is something where it's like you can take from it and actually use it, that's great. But don't let it demean or belittle or, don't let it take you away from who you are or anything like that. Okay. Okay. So, but when you do a disclaimer and you do tell people, like for instance, on YouTube, and you're talking about this, it adds a different level of maybe this stuff is actually really good. If you're willing to say up front, don't follow this advice. This is just educational entertainment. This is just information. I'm not promising you anything. I am just practicing. All of a sudden, you get a different level of respect for that, and they pay attention way different. It's kind of like telling a kid, don't press that. It's like they're like,
So they
okay,
press it, they go ahead and press. Yeah.
So the more you tell them not to pay attention because you're practicing, the more they're going to pay attention. And if they start to be stupid, as you assume they will be in the comments, because they want significance. And if that's the only way they can get it, that's the way they're going to get it. You can always say, oh, I'm sorry, you must not have seen my disclaimer. And then you can just paste the disclaimer in the comments afterwards. And then what can they say, right? So then what you do is you can then practice in public, and all of a sudden you have gained this immense value, this following. There'll be many more that respect you versus not. And you can take it to that next level, and you can say, well, guys, based off all the feedback and all the things I've learned, I'm going to create the second Porsche 911. Here was the first one. Here's Model 2, Model 3, Model 4, Model 5, Model 6. And you just keep focused on that. The world's yours. Like, you can create whatever you want from there, because nobody does that. And if you're willing to do that and slow down to go fast, you'll crush it. And that's where a lot of people make a huge mistake when it comes to building online or building anything, frankly. Remember how Tesla and SpaceX, so like, well, just SpaceX, sorry. Okay, so when SpaceX was building their Starship, I mean, he literally, the first one looked like like just a barn, like a silo, or it just looked like a can going up in the sky and then exploding, right? Publicly, he was failing, like spending millions of dollars and just looking like a failure. And then he built the second version. It got a little higher. Third, a little higher. Pretty soon, then it came back down and exploded on the ground. Then one landed, and then it fell over and exploded. Then one finally landed, and he kept going. And now he's SpaceX.
Where he is, yeah.
Do the same thing. And if you do that, we already know Forex trading is something people want, right? Okay, we already know it's a viable thing, like it's been around. Okay, so we know that. And if you can get excited about it, and you can go connect with the people that you can connect with, and that's where you start. And then the ring spreads out, right? Nobody even would give SpaceX a contract until he built a full-scale model. He had to build a full-scale model, and then he's like, okay, this is what I'm talking about, right? And that's what you can do too. Build that first full-scale model and be like, guys, this is what I was trying to say. And they're like, and then all of a sudden he got this huge contract and built the next one. And it was like, oh, and then it just, so do that same thing and use that tool correctly. Does that make sense?
It does.
All right, man.
I'm going to get started tonight.
I believe in you, man. It's awesome.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, Mike, what you just shared with Thomas, how to use ChatGPT on how to create the initial start of his Forex product. Check out the smile on his face. Awesome, man. Well, good, man. I mean, did you get it, by the way? Make sure you click on that.
I got it. Yes, I got it.
Okay. Because I think when I close this, it'll go away. But I'm sure you probably already know how to do what I showed you. But now you can take and go from there. I mean, just pretend. Just keep pretending until people demand that you stop pretending, right? You get it?
Yes, I get it.
It's humbling too. Everybody goes out and they want to flex, they want to say, oh, look, they always want to talk about like the wins. They don't want anybody to see them stumbling. But if you can stumble in public and they see you get back up, or they see you improve it each time, they're like, man, I thought this kid was just some stumbling goober, right? All I seen
Yeah.
was this kid just stumbling. I thought, man, he's just a stumbling goober. And then all of a sudden they're like, but he got back up and now he's stumbling less. And wait a minute. Now he's like running. Holy crap. Now he's like flying. That's the difference. And that's something that you don't have to talk about. You
Okay.
don't have to talk about how good you are. They watched you. That's the journey. That's the real story people want to see. Right? They see you. There's one thing to see somebody fall down and make fun of them. There's another thing to see them fall down and then all of a sudden they get back up and they go a little further and then they fall down again and you're like, wait a minute, the last time this happened, he got back up. Oh, he got up again. And you go further. That is where you build something where no marketing, no ad can beat that. And then you have this amazing story and journey that you can talk about the whole time. And you are, from the beginning, being pure, authentic, and just focused on helping them learn the thing that you said you wanted to help them learn, have now become somebody that's pure and real and valuable and trustable. And they believe in you. And so just being consistent, knowing that it's going to be fail, get up, fail, get up, fail, get up, fail, get up, and that never stops. Knowing that, you just get, every time you get up, you're crawling on top of the next rung of the ladder because you built that strength and that foundation. But before you know it, you finally put your head up and you look out and you're like, holy crap, I'm on the moon. You know, that's what you need to focus on. And there's nothing better than that. You know, people try to come up with their story, build your story. You know what I mean?
Yes, I get you.
Very good. Does anybody else have any other questions? That was awesome, dude. Anybody else? Time is whittling.
Crazy day, Mike.
What's up?
I've had a crazy day today, and that's why I was late.
Yeah.
So I've decided I'm going to become a paid member, and I'm just trying to decide if I want to pay you monthly or pay you one time. So tell me the difference. What, other than money, other than the amount of money that it's going to cost me?
Well, I assume you're in the US, right?
That's
So
yes,
if
I'm
you're
in
in the
Indiana.
US, yeah, you might be able to use Klarna. So if you do decide to do the lifetime, which is the best deal because you only have to pay me once. If you use Klarna, Klarna will break it up into payments. So you might be able to get started with Klarna and maybe the only thing you have to pay today is $45 or something. I don't know what I think everybody, it kind of works out a little different depending on like where you're starting from or whatever, but you might check that. If you do decide to do lifetime. But the difference when you join lifetime, because you're making the commitment, I also give you 3 one-on-one Zoom calls, and I help you in the first one to figure out what product you're going to create, like what you're going to do, you know, the solution, the problem you're going to solve, the thing like that. That's the first session. The second session is then, how are we going to create something that will attract somebody to become a lead and then become a sale? So I help you with the conversion process. And then the third and final Zoom that we do in the one-on-one Zoom, the bonus thing, is I show you like what kind of content are we going to create? What are we going to do to market ourselves to get people to become a lead and then become a sale and then buy the product? Because that's what we do, attract, convert, deliver, but you have to build it in reverse. So when you get started with lifetime, I mean, I charge $1,000 per hour. And so you're getting 3 hours, 3 separate hours with me. And we do those privately on Zoom. I record those and I take you through the process of creating the attract, convert, deliver framework so that when you get into the actual program, then you can go through the intricacy of like the actual course, the 9 steps, 27 modules, and you already have this framework and basis that you can, when you go through it, you're adding mortar to the bricks at that point. You've got all the bricks, you've got the things in place, but this adds the mortar to it. And then you obviously get 3 calls a week with me that are at minimum 1 hour long. I mean, the other day, the one that we did on Thursday was 4 hours. I just stay on. If it's good, I'll stay on. If I can, I'll stay on and help.
Is that only with the lifetime on the
No,
3
you get that with
calls,
the
or is that
monthly
also
too.
included?
The
It's just
difference
with the
between the
monthly,
lifetime
you
and the
don't get
monthly
those
is
3 101s. The
yes,
3 101s.
yes. And you know, another thing is that I'm getting ready to launch my Make Once Elite program. And with that program, I'm creating digital products that you can immediately sell, but it's going to be more focused towards people that want to essentially teach like what I teach, which is how to actually build products and that kind of thing. So it's not applicable to everybody. But what I am saying is people that get in now before I launch that, I just grandfather them in and give them access to that. So they won't have to pay the initial upfront costs to get the products to resell. And that maybe doesn't make any sense now. And it maybe isn't even something that's, you know, that you care about, but it is, you know, another $3,000-4,000 worth of value that you would get just grandfathered into. And the lifetime also doesn't stay around forever. So that the 3x or the 3 one-on-one calls and the lifetime access, I take that down every once in a while and then I open up for it, but I don't know when I'm going to open up again. It could be a year from now. It could be 6 months, 9 months. I don't know. And then
You're taking that down for new people. You're not taking away from the lifetime that people have joined.
no, like, so for the month of May so far, you can get lifetime access or you can pay the $149 per month. Okay. The lifetime access gets you the 3 private Zoom calls, but I'm taking that option away at the end of May. And then you would have to pay $9.99 per year and you don't get the 3 calls. I do that because it gets people off of the fence and gets them to take action. It's a bonus. It's like
that when you say the elite was grandfathered in, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that you become elite or you're still going to have to pay more to be elite?
No, that means you don't have to pay for the elite.
It just comes with it.
Yeah.
It's almost a no-brainer then.
To me, it is.
Well, yeah, and to me it is. But when you were talking, I don't know. I don't know if it's something that I was part of or one of your videos I was watching when you were talking about going from 6 figures to 7 figures and you had all your little circles and you said to go from 6 to 7, you just had another one. And so you wrote it up on the board, there on the whiteboard. And to me, since I want to start out not teaching people to make money, that would be one of the things I might add on after I'm successful with the other. Does that make sense? Because, you know, I'm a math guy.
Sure.
You know, that's what I did. You know, these Zooms are easy for me. Being on the camera's easy for me. The whiteboard's easy for me.
Yeah.
All that stuff's easy for me because I'm not sure. I'm not afraid of the camera. I'm not afraid of my YouTube channel. It's just I need not only your knowledge, but I need you pushing me to go forward because I know I can. I know what I'm doing. It's just I have never done it. Does that make sense?
It's so important. You know, people know how to lose weight, but they get a personal trainer because the personal trainer holds them accountable, says, hey, show up. You said you wanted to lose weight. Like, that's all it is. And it's so important. And I hope you and everyone else who wants to do an online program realizes that people, you know, people can get information anywhere. I mean, ChatGPT will look how fast we created a course on ChatGPT. That's not the problem. That isn't at all the problem. The problem is people need to be held accountable. People need support. They need somebody that can be their environment, because maybe the environment they're in isn't supportive of the ideas of what we do here. And you just need somebody, I don't know how else to really say it. You just need somebody in your corner that has been there before and can help you just sidestep some of these potholes. And in a course, a static course, it just can't provide that. And so that's why I do things like this, and that's why inside of the program, Make Once Pro, I have, we do 2 calls every week that typically go, a couple hours, but they're set for an hour just so we stay under 2, but sometimes they'll go as long as they have to. And I get on there and answer your questions. Other members that are further along answer your questions. There's been so many times in those calls, you might hear somebody else talking about something and you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, that's perfect. Those are all recorded. And then each month I do 3 separate workshops and cover new concepts. So it's a 3rd time, and I'm getting ready to add even more, because I'm finding it that people are excelling and getting there faster with more support. And so you do the same thing within your own thing. It's like, information's not enough. We have to also add these other elements too.
Would that update on my calendar whenever I change my, or
So right now you're in my Make Once.
I'm in the
community.
free. I'm in the free right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't been through the menu.
So my free community, right? The free community is designed to generate leads or free members, right? And then educate them and see if it's something that they want to do. That's why I do these workshops, so they can actually test drive what it's like to talk to me and things like that. And then also, it's for them to learn and get the information. But when you get started with the pro, you'll move into the pro community, and then the calendar inside of the pro community, that will show the different calls that we do.
What time regularly do you do those workshops during the day? Is it the same time?
So Monday it's at 6 p.m. Central Time, Kansas time. Then Thursday it's at 10 a.m. Central Time, Kansas time. And then I have one on Wednesday that I do, which is at sorry. I changed them. I think it's 7 and 11. I think they're an hour different. I just recently changed them, but yeah, they're always on Thursdays in the morning, Mondays in the evening, Kansas time, and they're like 6 or 7 o'clock or 10 or 11 o'clock. And then on Wednesday, it's a morning one, and I record all of those and add them. And so even if you can't make it, you can always send your question ins ahead of time inside of the community, and you can tag me in it, and then I'll answer the question on the calls if you can't make one of them or whatever. That way you still get the answer that you're looking for. And then I'm going to be adding, like I said, some more calls, so that basically Monday through Friday, you're able to like talk to me like we're talking now, and you can get the help that you need to move along. So
I have trouble with the time difference. What is it, 12:06 there now?
Yeah.
What time is it there?
Yeah. It's 12:06 right now.
It's 1:06 here, so it's 1 hour different. Okay.
Yeah, and it automatically does the time change when you register.
Yeah,
So
I know on the calendar, but
yeah.
So
the other thing though is for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Hawaii, so I'm going to be 5 hours off. And so some of the calls that I'd be having to get up at like 5 a.m. and do them, and you probably don't want to talk to me at 5 a.m. and do these.
Probably not going to do that.
So I'm just going to have to change those in the time being. But yeah, the schedule is always typical. And then if something's going to change, I always let you guys know ahead of time.
I just wanted to say I'm in Mike's paid group. I did the lifetime, and it's 100% different than being in the free group. I mean, I thought the free group was fire. And since joining the Make Once Pro, like, he's just so there, and I feel my business is taken off. I've been trying to make this business work for years, but it wasn't until I joined Make Once Pro that everything, it just starts happening so fast. Like all the support is there, all the questions are there, and just the level of the conversation and things going on in the group, it's different. Because you're around people who are like really serious about this, and a lot of us have similar questions but different backgrounds, and it all just kind of, it's awesome. I'm still here on this call because I want to listen to everything Mike does.
And I'm
helped me
super
so
proud of
much.
you, by the way. Thank you for that. But I'm very super proud of you. You have taken action. You've been coachable, and you deserve what is happening to you. Like you're doing a great job, and you're being a pro about it. So good for you.
Oh, I just feel like if I've got someone who's done it and they've had the success, I think I should just take what they say and put it into action and not, dilly-dally anymore. So
no, you're doing
helps
great.
so much.
I'm watching you, and I'm like so proud of you. Like I want to bring you in on calls, and you deserve what's happening. So
So exciting. It's so exciting. So if you're on the fence, like, I mean, as long as you're ready to like put in the work, I mean, it's there for you. And Mike tells us all the time, it's just consistency. I mean, if you can just show up every day and care enough about your people to do that, not make it about you, people need you out there,
So true. So true.
I just wanted to add that.
No, that's awesome. Very cool. No, it's very true.
For that, Amanda.
Yeah, and Amanda's one to follow too. Like she's very good. I've watched her on her lives. I've watched her in her content, and I mean, she's good at it. She's serious about it, and she, like I said, she definitely deserves what's happening to her. And you are just at the tip of the tip of the tip of the tip too. So you're going to be a major force out there, and I'm really excited for that because,
Excited.
I mean,
so excited.
Women get it done too. Like if you need something done, just give it to a busy woman.
That's right.
It's
Call
true.
it a day.
It's
It's
freaking
happening.
true. It's true.
Oh, Amanda, do you do yours on TikTok Live? Because I think I might have seen you.
I do. You'll know because I'll have a whiteboard or a sketch pad there.
Yes, I saw you. I saw you the other day, and I was
Oh.
going to join, and I saw it was a strange thing that I could not because Skool would not accept me because I'd already joined Mike.
Huh. It wouldn't let you because you're in Mike's?
Because my email address had already been used. I have several email addresses, but I mean,
Oh, okay.
but anyway, I thought you looked familiar.
That's me. That's me. It's a really cool group. It really is. Yeah. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah. So
My
let's see.
decision by the end of May, Mike, whether I'm going to go monthly or pay the whole thing. So
Right on,
I got
man.
till the end of May, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always
But
doing.
in the meantime, I've been changing in my mind the things I want to do with for my free offering because this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
So
If you can get those 3 one-on-ones with Mike, though, I'm just trying to tell you, like, you're gonna get it done. I mean, that's like gold right there. I would hop on that.
Yeah, I kind of don't know how to like go less. I just kind of go all the time.
I can tell. I know.
My mom always said, "You're just all or nothing all the time.
Yeah.
It's either, I was like, she goes, it's good, but it's bad, So
Right.
she doesn't
As
talk
long
like
as
that.
you're all into something good, then it's good.
Yeah, exactly. Or you go from one extreme to the next. So Stefan, thanks so much, Amanda. I appreciate that. So Stefan says, quick question, might not be for this call, but how do you achieve the infinite black background, or is it a paper backdrop? Well, how you do this is you buy flat black paint, because that's all it is, just a wall behind me. And I painted this wall. So there's a wall like this. Here, you guys want to see what it looks like? Hold on a second. I will take a picture and share it, and we will look at it. Okay. All right. So I will share this picture to my computer and we will look at it. If you've followed me for any amount of years, you can probably figure out that I like black. Let me show you. You see the picture? So there's three like key elements that make this work. Number one, this is just flat black paint. And the important thing is that you have at least two wall. This is just maybe I'm crazy, but I've just noticed if you have like a bright wall here, I don't have a wall on this side, so it's not reflecting anything. But if this wall was white, it wouldn't work in the background. It would reflect and it wouldn't give it that infinite look. And then the other thing is these lights right here, they cause the camera to focus different. So it makes the background look like it's not there. It's like depth of field. So I've got no reflection over here. This is flat black paint, and there's like 5 coats of paint on this as well. I don't know if that's necessary, but I just wanted it to be like as dark as I could. And then this light above me, I have turned way down, because if it was bright, then it would be reflecting down. And then my camera, I have my camera set at 1.4 aperture. So it's like not letting, or it's letting a lot of light in, and it's just soaking up these lights right here. Okay. And these are just little pin light things or whatever. You can get them on Amazon. But this lens that I have, you know, I have the ISO on my camera, so the electronic sensor that delivers light when there isn't any, I have that turned way down. And because it's got a low aperture, I'm at 1.4 aperture, it can open up real big and I'm not adding any light, and then I'm giving it light. So it's kind of like these 3 elements of causing this deep, dark background. And then I've got this light in front of me. So yeah, it's just a little play on lights and aperture. It's not maybe necessary to have all this stuff, but I like it. And then I built this little stage down here. I know it looks kind of, I'm not done in here yet, but I like having my chair roll around, and this room that I'm in has like new carpet. So I took some 2x12s and I built a 2x12 stage that's 8 foot by 8 foot. And it's like obviously 12 inches tall. And then I just bought some sticky tiles, like some 18 by 18 sticky tiles, and put them down. And so this is where I'm at. This is where I'm sitting. But yeah, this camera right here, you can see I've got, you know, there's my microphone. I've got my phone clipped into this arm right here. So as I've been doing this call, if you know me, like the whole name of my business is Make Once, right? I'm making this call for you guys, and I'm doing this now. But during this, every once in a while, I also have this mic hooked to my shirt, and I have a mic like hooked into this. See, my phone is on this thing right here. So whenever we were talking, if something came up that I thought, man, that would make a good short form piece of content, I would click record on my phone. And then now all of a sudden I've got conversational content, which is the best in my opinion, where it's like it's like really real, authentic, like content, you know, we're creating it because of your questions. And so I would then hit record on this. And so when I get done now, I have my short form content already created simultaneously. And then this video is going to go on YouTube as a long form piece of content. And so each week I've got like a real in the moment style type piece of content that's, you know, obviously directly related to the market because the market created it.
Oh my God, that is genius. I was wondering how you got the short clips. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's just, and I mean,
That's
this is a
awesome.
recent thing that I started doing. I didn't do this at first, but it was like, I noticed like my best content always came out when I was like doing these calls. And so I was like, well, how can I actually create that scenario so that it happens like that? And so then that's when I, set this up the way I did here so that I can have these conversations that actually matter. And then, I can create the short form like this. And so that's why I made my background the way I did. And I have it like this so that it's like automatic. Getting everything knocked out with one movement is kind of how I think about it. So it's like, how do I move the best? Well, I'm best in a live conversational scenario. Okay. So I'm like, okay, well, let's create those. So I do workshops and live calls and things like that. And then I'm like, now how can I position myself to, while I'm doing it, if I can sense that something's coming or it's going to be good, I'll just reach over and hit, record on my phone, and I have it recording short form, and then I'm talking to you. I mean, you see how that works, right? So then when I get done, all I got to do is take the recorded video and I'll literally just go into CapCut, which is just an editing software. I'll take it in there. I'll chop out any of the dead moments, or like, I'll clean it up so that it kind of feels like a good little chunk. And then what they also notice too is in that type of content, they realize that it's coming out of something that was bigger. And so they start looking for that bigger piece, because if they liked the little piece, it's kind of like a coffee cake, like the cinnamon sugar coffee cake. It doesn't matter how big of a piece you get, it tastes really good. So if a little piece is good, a bigger piece is even better, right? So they know that this is just a little piece off of the bigger loaf. And so they go looking for the bigger loaf. And then what happens is they end up spending more time with me, and they decide whether or not they want to keep spending time with me, or maybe I'm not their style, or maybe they don't believe in me. And then they can make that decision, or they decide they really want to, and that this is the person they want to learn from. And it goes the other way, right? They become a member, or they join the free community, then they become a pro member, and then, whatever. So, as it is small, so it is large kind of thing. Like a little piece of dog poop is the same as the whole piece of dog poop. So I just think about it like that's what Sam Ovens used to always say. So it's like, if it's good in a little small piece, it's probably good in a big piece too. And so, and it saves you time. Like I can get everything done, all my marketing, my relationship building, my long form content, short form content, live content. I can have it all done by 12 o'clock, 1, and then I have the rest of my day to iterate and improve my product, do customer service, or think into the future of like what I could do to, invest into what I'm doing, or I can go golfing, like I can do, or whatever I want to do, I can do whatever. So I like that. You just have to systemize it, and you have to position it.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to have to go. I've got another appointment in my busy day, but I want to tell you that I will be on board by the end of May. Okay.
All right, man. Thanks for
Thank
showing
you.
up. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Okay.
Mike, you should do a whole class. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it's awesome. You should do a whole class on how you're repurposing flow, because I feel like this game is about the consistency with the content, and not just but like good content. And it seems like you figured it out.
Yeah, the whole thing, I'll just tell you like quickly, the whole thing that makes consistent good content and like consistent micro growth. And I was just talking in the backyard to my mower guy, which is my son's friend, which he's graduating high school with a 6-figure, lawn and landscape business right out of the gate. So, I mean, the kid's just really sharp. But I was talking to him, I was like, you can build something fast, but if you can't stabilize it, then it'll just kind of leak out the back and die. And then it feels like you're always repeating the same 6 months and stuff. I said, so, build a really, really good product, and then the product is everything, so if you want really good, consistent content, just always have your product that you can lean on. Like, you can always go to your product, grab something out of it and discuss it and help people with that particular part of it, which is necessary, but it's not the whole thing. And then they want to come get the rest of it. And so if you got the really good product, as I know you're building as well, then you always can just have the perfect thing to talk about when you go live. You always reference back to, this is just a little bit of the whole. And then, yeah, I'll do the workflow too of how I create it, because honestly, like once I understood that, I was like, oh, so this is how they work 2 to 4 hours a day and, can run a 7-figure business. It's like, you just have to systemize and plan, right?
Yeah.
But it's fun too, like, because you actually end up getting a lot better content as well, because you're building it from what you actually do when you help people. So that's what makes it so great.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You
That's kind of what I'm
be able
doing
to
with
do
your,
it.
with your Christmas cash thing. I'm just recreating it, and I pulled the
Sure.
first 3 steps out of my system. And then, so did you go live? You went live every day for 7 days with the stuff for that day, or was it a separate class when you did that?
Once I laid out the Christmas Cash Accelerator thing, which was just an attractive name for something that was the same as what I've always taught, right?
Yeah.
I leaned into that name, because when you can, and you should do this with all your offers, like whenever you can hit that emotional nerve in somebody, like if you trick somebody into stop smoking, that doesn't make you bad, especially if what you trick them into is actually good for them, right? So I wanted to help people that, were fed up with not being able to help or to get their child something for Christmas, right? So it's like, I know that's a emotional thing, right? I felt that, myself. And so it's like, hey, if this is what it takes to get you to finally become who you are and be successful, then all right, let's do this. So in that, what I did is I laid out what that looked like, what the blueprint was to get there. And then each day on the way there, I just taught that step. And just like anything, if you get it in little chunks, it's really hard to put it together as a whole unless you've got somebody guiding you, which was like, give away all the secrets, sell the implementation type of thing. And so that promotion right there did like close to 50 grand. And in like 14 days or something like that. So
Genius.
and things will always do that. Like, that's anytime you do something like that, if you just follow the rules of attract, convert, deliver, and you're prepared and you are genuinely helping people along the way there, they're going to naturally want the rest of it. They're going to naturally want to do more. And they did. And then those people, some of them, they got what they needed. Some people go to the next level. There's always another level. There's always, yeah. So yeah, that's like I said, when you have the blueprint laid out and you start building out the program, then everything becomes so simple after you have the product. So it's always like you're an architect, right? You lay out the blueprint and you know exactly how you're going to build that building if somebody validates that they want it by paying for it. And then you build that building with them. But then that building now is a model for you to build the next building. And now, because we know that building was a success and people paid for it, you don't have to wait to build the next one. You can start building it right away while you're selling the previous model, because we know that model now works and people want that. And so then you can just keep iterating and improving. And it's not a complete, like, throw the whole thing out, start again. It's like, you look at what people were saying as they went through the first model, and they're like, oh man, you know, I wish you would have put a railing on the staircase over here. And you're like, oh, okay. And then so, you know, or I wish you would have made it a few more steps less. And we, you know, and then so you can adjust it like that. And, you know, come model 5, 10, 15, it's like impenetrable. Like people are,
Right.
it looks impossible to others, people that are trying to get into that place. You just build longer runway, you know,
Yeah.
and you're going to do so great if you
Yeah.
just stay focused and don't get derailed on what you're doing, and you just stay focused, keep iterating and improving on what you're doing, and you keep being consistent in the market with sharing what you're creating and what you're doing and why and everything. And just say, you know, for the next 5 years, 10 years, just you say that in your brain because it tricks you into thinking long term, which is what you want to do. But along the way there, you're going to run into opportunity that will exponentially offset you to places that you didn't know existed in your world. And all of a sudden, the new norm is, you know, 1,000 a day. And then you do that for a while, then the new norm is $5,000 a day. And then the new norm is like 10 grand a day. And it's like less than that is like something's broken in the system. You need to adjust. And then you just keep, like I was telling the kid with the mowing business, you just keep restabilizing. It's like grow a little bit and then stabilize and get that thing to get the system to work properly at that level. Grow a little bit. And then as you're doing that, you got to remember you're not doing it in a vacuum. Other people are watching you and they're like, wow, if she can be that consistent and show up and stabilize the business at these different points, I wonder what would happen if we gave her $5 million. What could she do? And then all of a sudden, you know, and then when Stripe, like because you use Stripe, they see you consistently bringing in income, and they see you consistently not having a bunch of chargebacks because you actually built the product properly with people the first time, so they don't have any complaints, and there's no like chargebacks and stuff. They see this consistent track record, and they're like, hey, here's $50,000. We'll just take a little bit out of each new product that comes in, and pay back that loan. And then you pay back that loan because you have consistency. They're like, here's $200,000. And then you pay that back and it's like, here's $1 million. And they just keep all these things come to you when you are out there trying to help people.
Right. It's like you show the you want and that you're serious. And like when you just show up and have the faith and the in the process, yeah, things start to line up for you. But it's like you have to be you have to be first.
Consistency, first principles thinking, focus, and paying attention to what is actually real and staying at it, which by themselves are simple things to say and effectively do. But the hard part is like, you know, when things outside of your control happen that you're not expecting, do you still show up, you know? And I believe, like, personally, I believe women are a lot better at this than men. Like when a man gets a cold, the way he acts compared to when a woman gets a cold is like two different things. And I think there's a lot of like evolutionary reasons for this, but you know, I just truly believe like if you just battle through and you stay consistent, everything just gets better with consistency. And it's like trust. Like we trust, like gravity is just a known thing. It never takes a day off. You know, it's like if you can just focus on that and keep it simple, like realizing that, you know, you're in the same space as me, like people are going to always want to know how to make money. And this internet stuff, from my perspective, I don't think it's going anywhere in my lifetime other than more and better. So if you can just become an expert by doing it, you're gonna write your own dream. You won't even, it seems like you know you're doing the right thing when you arrive at the place you always dreamed at arriving to and you didn't even know that you were there. It's like you wake up one day and you're like, oh yeah, this was
Wow.
that thing I always dreamed about. And you're so focused on helping your customer, and you're so focused on making a great product, and you're so focused on like being consistent and focusing and like being there, that like you wake up one day and you're like there, and you didn't even know that you were there. It's really interesting.
Wow.
And you're there. I can
Yeah.
watch you. I can see you. Like you got the energy for it. I can sense it,
Yeah.
You just got to stay at it and not get derailed. There's it's weird things that come and get you. Like, like things that are going to come knock you off of the vibe is when you finally, maybe you look down at your bank account and you're like, whoa, there's like several $100,000 in there. And then you get this idea that you need a bigger house or car or something. And you started and you got in too early. Like you bought
Right.
that stuff too early. Now there is a place where if you're living in a really crappy place and you're driving a really crappy car, there's nothing wrong with, going up a few levels from that and being really happy with that. And then not forgetting that, most people, lifestyle creep gets them. It's not one,
Yep.
it's like these little things
Yeah.
that you do. And then the other one is you stop doing the thing that you did to get to that place, thinking that you don't have to do those things anymore because you somehow arrived at this thing. And it's not forgetting to continue to do the thing that you always have done to get to those things. Because what you don't see happening when you continue is you don't see the compounding effect that's building in the background. You don't realize how long sometimes the compound effect needs to hit that next level. And so you stop, you get up a little bit, when you go from maybe making 100,000 a year to 100,000 a month, that feeling feels like you arrived, or it feels like you can, oh, okay, now I can kind of sit back a little bit. I've made it somewhere. Where in reality, that's when you want to actually double or triple or quadruple down on those fundamental activities and income earning activities that you're doing. And then what happens is when you do that, you S jump. Instead of the roller coaster doing this, it goes like this. And then you get to a place where you get close to escape velocity, where you can always go back if you do the wrong thing. Like you can ruin your reputation in a sentence, right?
Yeah.
But assuming that you keep clear from those types of things, and you keep, when you're up, instead of when you're up, taking it easy for a little bit because you're up. When you're up, that siren goes off to say, do 10 times more of what you did to get up. And then you S jump and you don't take those dips. And then you get to a place where it's really, really, really hard to knock you off, like to take that away from you.
That makes sense.
So it's kind of like, but that's what gets people. They go from.
I've experienced that in sales. Like it's the same thing. Like you have to do a certain amount of prospecting, certain amount of cold calls to make it. And then you start making money and you're like, oh, I don't need to do this anymore. But this is the only thing I've done. Like when you said the other night, like you're like, I have to force myself to stop working at 9 because I'll just keep working. It was like, I like feel that now. And it's like, this is the thing that it's just like, I love doing it. I just love it so much. And I've loved other things I've done before, but not this way. So
that's the
I get
energy
what
that I
you're
can
saying,
feel
like going back to the fundamentals.
That's the
It's
energy
so
that I
exciting.
feel from you too. Like this is fun. You feel your passion leaking out, like that you didn't know you had. You have a confidence that you don't have to muster up. It's just kind of there. And then
I've never had that kind of energy I get from doing something the way I do this. And me and Bajan were talking about you the other day. Like we were like, he's just this system. It's like so interesting. I mean, it's like at first glance, you don't realize the intricacies of it, but the further in you go, you're like, dude, this guy's a genius. Like there's just so many different pieces, but they all fit together, and it's just fascinating and it's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, when it feels like fun
I
and
just love it.
yeah, that's when you know this is for you. And then the thing is like the thing that I'm like really, really learning more about and focusing on right now is like, number one, how can I build a better product? That's like, I'm always like thinking, how can I make this even better? So that's like a feeling that I'm getting a lot more now lately than I've ever had. And then also I look at like the top founders and CEOs and like the most successful people out there, and I'm seeing that the thing that they are investing in more than tools or more than, you know, these, I would say things like, I just think of them as like tools, like these extra things. You know, you think of like, oh, I could buy a better this or a better that. But instead, what they invest in the most, it seems like, is talent. And it's like,
Talent.
you can't be talented in all these things. You have to focus on what you're really good at. But the thing about talented people is, in order for them to be very talented, they can't focus on the thing maybe that you can see from back here as a leader, as an entrepreneur, that they can't see. So they have to keep doing what they're extremely talented at. But if you can position that talent, no different than like a coach positioning players on a field, you can win a Super Bowl, or you can win the game, you know, or you can win the game that season or whatever, right? So I've been like thinking a lot about talent and, you know, being able to step back and not think that it all has to, because I'm the bottleneck of this whole operation, right? So that's the, you know, so it's like, but it's fun, you know, because I think about that, you know, and I'm like, how many more people can you impact if you had talented people helping you for each of the positions or whatever, or, you know, what does that look like, you know, and how can you innovate there? So, but it's fun. Like, I really believe in you a lot. And I'm so glad that it worked out the way it did on you, like how it all came together, you know, because I just, it's so important for me to have people like you in our process, because people look at me and it's like, okay, but when they see you, you know, growing like you're growing and taking on to this, it inspires people a lot, you know, and it's like, that's important. And it's so good for you too. I mean, because I want to interview you for my own thing for like the emerging leaders. I want to poster child you basically, because that's what you do.
I'm
It's
about
like,
it.
yeah. And it helps you, it helps everybody. So
I'm
just
here
keep
for
going,
it.
man. Like I can feel the energy. Like I can sense it. Like you've got that thing, you know, and please take advantage of it, because number one, you're going to help a lot of people. Number two, you're going to find a person inside of you that you didn't even know existed. And you're just going to live a great life that's designed by purpose, you know, and it's fun.
Yeah. I'm just so glad I finally found the thing. It's just,
I know I know that feeling for sure.
Yeah.
It is great though. You know, it's like, oh, so this is what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know,
So much stuff.
You know that this is just like a little vein off of the main creek, and you're not quite sure where the creek is heading, but you know that it's in this direction, and you know that like it's going to probably take on, because what happens is you start sensing yourself and you're like, and this comes a lot through like when you're coaching and teaching too. Like, you know, when you teach something or coach somebody, something else inside of you comes to play the game. And it's this thing that you couldn't bring out on your own without the ability to like help somebody or coach somebody. And so like when you find that thing, it's really interesting, because it starts to see from both perspectives at the same time. And then you start to see this other picture of what is possible for you. And then it seems like from there, you thought it could only be this, but it can actually be this and this and this, because now you can see how you can build something great out of it. And then people come into your life that, or maybe they were always there, but you couldn't sense them, or like things start to come around you that make sense. And I don't know, it's just such a really incredible thing. And it's, I just want more people to be able to experience it, because it feels almost like a movie, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well,
I
you're
love it.
awesome. I appreciate you speaking up and sharing. And like I said, I'm watching you. I believe in you a ton. And you know, there's so many people that I see in the group. They're just like, I've seen people already be inspired by you too, you know. But you're, like you
It's
said,
crazy.
I could tell talking to you in the podcast, like it wasn't your first time on a video. You know, it wasn't your first
No.
time talking about business or sales. And I just want people to realize that, you know, everybody starts from different places. Like just because you came
Right.
in and started succeeding quicker, some people are like, oh, well, then it's not for me. It's like, no, she just had done more groundwork prior to this moment. And it's just adding up now. And
Right.
that bamboo thing, you know, it's like you've been
Mm-hmm.
growing under this surface, not quite sure where you're going to sprout out. And then now that you've came out, it's like you're growing a foot a day. And it's like, that's just what it is. And you're like, oh, all that stressful, weird, crazy stuff that was annoying to me. Now I'm just so grateful that I did that, because it makes this so much better.
For sure. It all starts adding up.
All right. Well, I'll let you get
All the
back to it.
things.
I'm going to get back to it. This was
All right.
good. Thomas says, how do we get this recording? It'll all be inside of the Make Once free community. So it's available on Skool in the classroom live recording set. Yep. Awesome. Yes, best content usually comes from just speaking. Remember following RSD. Awesome. Well, listen, you guys, appreciate you hanging out here longer than I wanted to go, but it doesn't ever be a bad thing, I guess. So thank you guys. I will see you next week. I'll be in Hawaii starting tomorrow, and then I get back like June 6th or 7th or something like that. So bear with me through the time changes and things like that, but I will be here. You can be assured of that. I believe in you guys a lot. Thank you for being here. And you guys go have fun.